Welcome to the scary dark room. Hey guys, tonight we step deep into the pine forests of Poland, where an urban legend whispers of a figure who hunts without eyes, without a mouth, without a face at all. He is said to stalk the living, drawn to anyone who dares wander too far beneath the canopy of black trees. The locals call him the Faceless Huntsman, and they swear his presence is not just folklore, but a warning. Before we get deep into the story, take a moment to like and subscribe to the video. And tell me in the comments, what time is it where you're watching? And what country are you in? The tale begins in the thick, endless woods near the Missourian Lake District, a place where the pines grow so tall that their tops seem to scrape the night sky. The air there carries the scent of resin, wet earth, and the faint echo of silence, an unsettling silence that presses down on travelers like a weight. People say the forest is alive with whispers, the shifting of unseen shapes between the trees. But deeper than the usual stillness lies something else, a shadow, a hunter. For centuries, hunters and woodcutters passed stories of him around firelight. They spoke of a man tall and broad, dressed in the ragged cloak of a forester, carrying a crooked bow strung with sinew. But when they described his face, there was none. Smooth, pale flesh stretched where eyes and mouth should be, like wax melted and hardened without form. And yet, he sees, he hears, he hunts. No one knows what he feeds on, but those who encounter him are never the same again, if they return at all. The story that made his legend infamous happened not long ago. It involved a hiker named Marek, who loved the quiet of nature, preferring the company of trees over people. One autumn evening, he set out alone with his pack, heading deeper into the pine woods than usual. The air was sharp with the chill of approaching night, and the ground was damp with fallen needles that muffled his footsteps. As twilight bled into the horizon, he realized he had strayed from the main path. He tried to retrace his steps, but the forest seemed to twist around him. The tall trunks looked identical, forming shifting walls of black that swallowed any sense of direction. And then came the sound, a low thud, like the snap of a heavy boot against the earth. Marek stopped, thinking it was just an echo of his own steps. But when he moved again, there it was once more, this time closer. The forest grew colder, as if the night had rushed in too quickly. He adjusted his backpack, heart pounding faster, and called out a greeting to anyone who might be nearby. His voice carried only a few feet before being swallowed whole by the trees. And then, from between the pines, he saw a figure. It stood perfectly still, half-shadowed, its body draped in something dark, almost like a hunter's cloak. Marek squinted, expecting to see a man's face emerge from the gloom. Instead, his breath caught in his throat. There was no face at all, just smooth, pale skin glimmering faintly in the fading light. No eyes to meet his, no mouth to call out with. And yet, Marek felt watched, as though invisible eyes were fixed firmly on him. He stumbled backward, branches snapping underfoot, and the figure tilted its head with a slow, unnatural motion. In its hand, it gripped a crooked bow, though no arrow was drawn. Still, Marek felt like prey caught in the hunter's sights. He turned and ran. The forest became a blur of trunks and shadow. Needles crunched beneath his boots as he pushed forward, gasping for air, his chest tight with panic, But no matter how fast he moved, he heard it behind him, the heavy thud of footsteps, steady, relentless, not rushed, but certain, like a predator closing in on a kill. Merrick's legs burned, his lungs ached. He tried to scream for help, but the forest answered only with silence. Suddenly, the path beneath him opened into a clearing. The moon had risen, pale and thin, spilling a ghostly light over the clearing's center. There, scattered in the dirt, lay antlers, dozens of them, broken, twisted, piled like trophies. Some still had fragments of bone attached, darkened with age. He froze. The air was sharp with the smell of iron and damp decay. His eyes darted across the clearing, and then he saw him. The huntsman stood at the opposite edge, motionless, his faceless head gleaming in the moonlight. Merrick's knees weakened. The crooked bow was raised now, the string pulled taut, though no arrow rested on it. Yet the pressure in Merrick's chest grew unbearable, as if some invisible force had pierced him already. He dropped to the ground, gasping for air, his vision swimming. He tried to crawl, dragging himself through the needles and dirt, but each movement seemed to grow heavier. His limbs weakened, his breath shortened. And then he heard it, the whisper. It was not a sound from lips, for there were none. It was a voice inside his skull, a hiss that filled him with ice. "You are mine." The forest swayed around him. His vision dimmed. The last thing Marek saw before the darkness swallowed him was the pale, faceless figure stepping closer, one slow stride at a time. The next morning, a search party found his backpack at the edge of the clearing. His boots lay side by side, as if carefully placed. But Marek himself was gone. Not a drop of blood, not a single sign of struggle. Only his journal remained, open to a final, unfinished line. "He has no face, but I swear he sees me." To this day, hikers in the Masurian pines report strange happenings. They hear the crunch of footsteps behind them when no one is there. They feel the prickle of eyes on their skin in the dead of night. And sometimes, hunters return with the memory of a man-shaped shadow watching from between the trees, still as stone. The legend says the faceless huntsman does not kill with arrows. He drains something else, something deeper. Those who vanish into the woods are taken not by force, but by surrender. It is said their faces are taken, stolen into his collection, and their souls wander blind, lost among the trees forever. So, if you ever find yourself wandering the pine forests of Poland at dusk, be careful where your steps lead you, because if the woods fall silent and you sense the steady crunch of boots just behind you, it may already be too late. If this story chilled you, don't forget to subscribe to the Scary Darkroom for more terrifying tales.